I'm happy we put these fluffers on the mics. We had to put them on because it's getting very windy.
Yeah.
Here in the mountains of Andermatt. We are just 1 hour from Lugano, where you live.
1 hour from Lugano, 1 hour from Zug. Actually, it's very, very central. Andermatt, it's very well located.
I love Andermatt. It's an
nice
amazing
place.
So thank you so much for commuting all the way here. I had the pleasure of meeting you for the first time somewhere else in Switzerland 3 years ago when I went to the I.C.E. in St. Moritz for the first time.
Exactly.
Where you, for those who don't know and haven't seen my content about it, you create a classic car race and concours d'élégance, basically, on the frozen St. Moritz Lake. Crazy. Insane.
That was crazy. I think it's still crazy. And some people doesn't believe, that actually this is existing, or actually that it's on a frozen lake. But it is. I think it's one of the specialities of this event, to being on the frozen lake. A place that actually for more than 8 months a year doesn't exist.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing. And we've had all the elements try to shut the race down. You had too much snow, not enough snow, the lake is melting, every fear, but it worked out amazingly well this last year. So
it's. I think this is part of why this event it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
Because it's like, any other outdoor event, you never know till the moment you there whether it's going to happen or not. Let's say you have been particularly unlucky in the last years, especially with this very heavy snowfall.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year, so last February, we managed to get a good revenge, and we look forward for the next year.
I love it.
Around the World with your host, the Gstaad Guy. We welcome you back to the Gstaad Guy podcast, sharing stories of excellence with those in the know for those who just know.
The ice is such a small part of who you are and such a small part of what you do. I think you are the classic car guy. You're not classic cars, but like you're such a car guy. Racing, collecting, restoring, selling.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is my passion. It's actually what I inherited from my father. My father was racing in Formula 1 actually back in 1976. So someone would say when sex was safe and racing was dangerous. And from there he just decided to open his dealership in Lugano, where the entire family is coming from. And this is what basically left me back 15 years ago. And where I decided basically to focus, because with this passion for cars, I still remember when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, following my father on the paddock during his racing. It was amazing time, and I think this, this motorsport, those engines really enter into my blood, no? And today this is what I'm living for.
That's beautiful. So you were about 14 years old when you started racing yourself.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So I actually wanted to start racing before, because it's normal, when you are like start to understand a little bit more about passion. You are a boy, either it's football, either it's cars, and for me it was clearly cars. And I've been asking to my father, I would really love to go racing. Maybe you can buy me a go-kart. I can try to enter into this Formula 1 world, Formula 1, Formula 3, Formula 4 world, to try to aim and to achieve, like everyone is dreaming for a Formula 1. The truth is that my father always wanted me to be focused on studies, and also he was trying not to lose me from the family business. Today, I have to say I'm very grateful to him, because I then started when I was 14. He made me a promise that as soon as I was tall enough to enter into one of our GT cars, one of our Ferrari, back then was the 360 Modena, he would have taken me to the racetrack. I have to say, he kept the promise. When I was 14 years old, I went racing. I had to obtain the racing license in France, because back in France it was possible to get the racing license even if you are not 18 years old. And I managed to start racing at the age of 14 or 15, I don't remember exactly, the first race of the Ferrari Challenge, as the youngest driver ever into one of those cars. So it was quite exciting.
That's crazy. And what was it like to be in an F1 family as a son of an F1 racer as a kid? Because today I'm a big F1 fan. I think lots of people are now fans and also very exposed to the behind the scenes in the lives of the drivers, thanks to social media, thanks to Drive to Survive. And they all look like young bachelors in relationships, but they don't look to the outside world like they have families behind closed doors. But you come from a family where your father was an F1 driver. What was that like?
Yeah. It was amazing. At the same time, it was also scary, because what I have to say is that at the very beginning, when my father was still racing up to a very competitive level, I was scared, because, every 2 weekends he was coming home and say, unfortunately that driver passed away, he had a back crash, he got injured, he's going to be on a wheelchair. So back then it was really dangerous, the motorsport. And I think that this was not nice when it comes to the relationship I was having with Automotive. But then, as soon as you sit inside the car and you start feeling this vibration of the engine, you understand that, even if it's dangerous, it's worth it, the risk you are taking. But I have to say, when it comes to Formula One, the world has been changing quite a lot. If you just compare the two recent movies, even the Formula One movie that was recently launched, or Rush, you can see that the former drivers, I'm talking of the drivers of the 70s, used to be older, maybe on their 30s, 40s, while today, at the age of 18, 20, you start racing in Formula One. We can name a lot of drivers that we all know. No? So it has been changing. I think that the skills are a little bit different.
Why is that? Why is it now a lot younger?
I think that generally speaking, when it comes to sport, every sport has become more sophisticated. It requires more training. And if you start at a younger age to practice your passion, it might be that you get into Formula One a little bit earlier. Before, just to make an example that we have in the family, my father got his very first car when he was 18. So before being 18, he probably never drove a car, if not maybe the one of his grandparents. And then he started to practice with this car. He realized that it was a passion, and only when he was 26, 27, he approached Formula One. Today it's different. Today you have some talent scouter which are looking for talents, taking them to kart at a very early stage or age, and try to bring them up towards all the level till the Formula One. So, and I think you can find it pretty much in every sport. Of course, Formula One or motorsport is quite expensive. So today probably it's a little bit different. There is a business behind that. Back then, in the past, being a Formula One driver, being a driver was being an actor in the sense that you are going driving and providing show to the spectator, but you knew that it was something very dangerous what you were about to do, and probably that's why there was a lower entry gate to the Formula One, because you had back then to be ready to risk your life to be there. Today it's different.
I mean, a lot of that has thankfully improved with the car safety as well.
Big time. Today we have a carbon fiber chassis. Back then we had some, I would say probably alloy chassis. The fuel cell was just behind your seat. There was not really protection. And even the little impact was probably, starting into a big fire.
Yeah.
So today the safety is there. And I think that the recent crash showed that it had become a very safe sport.
That's great. I love to hear that. You were clearly very passionate about racing, and being the youngest racer ever to get in the Ferrari on the track is crazy. But I know that you then got out of racing after your father's passing, may his soul rest in peace, and you joined the family business instead of going down the racing path. May I ask you why you took that decision?
You are totally right, first of all, and I have no problem of saying that probably before, I was that kind of guy where the father was racing, was a driver, Ferrari dealer, racing myself. Probably I was happy with that, but I don't want to be misunderstood, but sometimes life put you in some condition where you need to prove, And if I look back now, what I've been proving, towards those years, make me a better person. Someone who had to deserve and to really gain and obtain what today I have. Before, probably it was a little bit too much easier for me. So I still remember back in 2010 when my father passed away, there was a journalist, a guy who came to me, those kind of guy, a little bit jealous, a little bit also, how can I say, try to stimulate a little bit you and your sentiments, no? And he told me, Ronnie, it's normal when the water touch the butt, even the donkey learn how to swim, no? And I have to say, I still have this sentence very much into my mind, because the message that this person wanted to let me know is that was the moment where I had really to start focusing on business, switch completely, stop enjoying life and getting into it. And from there, a lot of things has been changing. The automotive industry has been growing. My father, after Formula One, started with a garage, a little garage in Lugano, and this is what I took over. And today, this little garage is a better, well-organized company, which is divided in 3 main pillars. So motorsport still remain one of our focus, because it's where our family is coming from, and we have the Kessel Racing. I'm just back now from the Spa 24 hours. You might see I'm a bit tired, and this is one of our core business. The second business, it's selling modern car. So with Kessel Auto, we are today dealer in Switzerland for Ferrari, and for Maserati, and for Pagani. And then the third pillar, which is a consequence of the fact that everyone is getting old, not only us, but also the cars, that there are a lot of vintage cars. And that's why the third pillar is Kessel Classic, and we are focusing on taking good care and restoring classic cars, all beauties, bringing them back to the original, let's say, shape.
Beautiful. Which of those pillars do you think aligns most with who you are and where your interests lie?
It's a good question. I think that, it's about phases in life. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other one. Today, I have to say, I'm very much into the classic department. First of all, because I'm racing myself a little bit with classic cars. I think those cars are super nice to be raced. You go back to a normal manual gearbox with a manual gear stiff, then you still have some signs of the previous race, and it's nice. It brings you back to those time where if you close your eyes, you think about James Hunt, Regazzoni, Niki Lauda, and probably also my father, and that's the explanation why I feel quite close to this world today.
I love it. That's beautiful. So you run classic, auto, racing, and the I.C.E.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings a lot of those things into
together.
one.
Yeah, the I.C.E. was a little bit this idea. I have to say, the I.C.E. it's an idea which is a joint idea together with another dear friend of mine who came and he told me once, Moritz is super beautiful. You see a lot of horses which are racing on the circle on the frozen lake. Imagine what it will be if you could just enter the lake with some cars and give it a little bit a show, because it's not about race, it's like about a dynamic concourse of elegance. It's about showing those beauty to the people which are coming on the lake. And this was the idea, to put together a little bit what we are doing and to share my passion with everyone. So if you come to the I.C.E., you will see for sure some classic car, but now we started to introduce also some modern car, because this is also very important in the automotive industry, and also some race cars. So we are really trying to embrace all what we are doing, which in the end it's automotive world at 360 degrees, to give the chance to everyone to look into it and to enjoy a beautiful weekend up in Moritz.
I love it. I think there's lots of entrepreneurs in the car space who are doing new and different things, and lots of people who are chasing many things in this world for passion. And I think your passion is undeniable, but you also have a story of inheritance, like the journalist was saying, where you had to swim. The water came up when your father passed, and you had to jump into this, and you inherited lots of responsibility. What was it like at that age to, of course, have the passion to pull you in, but also have a tragedy push you into this?
It has been tough. It happened too early. I was back then 22 years old.
Wow.
But I have to say, it happened during this age where everyone is a little bit, hungry of understanding what is around, of growing, or try to achieve something in his own life. And I was very curious. I wanted to really, explore the world and explode somehow. When you're in your 20s, you just want to do and to explode. And I think this has been helping me a lot. So it's sad that I lost my father too early, but same time that was an age where I felt like, okay, now it's my time. Now it's my second race. Is not the race with the helmet, is another kind of race, but I want to prove that I can keep the business running, eventually also growing it, and pay some good gratitude to my father to what he left and what he was as an amazing human being. And without all the amazing people around me, it wouldn't have been possible. I have to say, I don't feel like taking all the credits for this. It has been really a joint effort, and we were a good team. We still are a good team. Now the team has been growing, has been divided into more pillars. But I think that behind any entrepreneurial story, behind any company, you have people, and people are fundamental to every business.
For sure. What did the business look like at the time you inherited it, at the age of 22? What were all the different pillars of the business, and how does that look today?
It was less divided compared to today. It was basically a dealership selling different brands. Back then we used to sell also Alfa Romeo, Honda, Lamborghini, some different brands. And there was not really a racing division. It was my father racing himself, and a classic division. It was just fixing some cars of the customer, which were older than the car that we used to have in the workshop. But I have to say that in the last 15 years, the automotive industry has been growing a lot. All brands and manufacturers are pushing very much into racing. Proof is that if you look today what is happening during the Le Mans 24 Hours, you have pretty much all manufacturers which are back racing. I can name Ferrari, I can name Peugeot, I can name really all the manufacturers are there, which I think is great. I mean, everyone is discovering the heritage related to motorsport, which I think is a great way to communicate a brand. And so the racing industry is exploding. Same when it comes also to the classic industry, because this is the real heritage of a brand. This is the history. This is how a brand can make the difference, towards a competitor. Like, okay, there might be brands which are existing since 30, 40 years, but there are also brands which are 100 years old. And this is strong when it comes to communication. So the automotive industry has been changing. And we have just been following a little bit this growth by dividing then the business into those three pillars. And this is what we are doing today. Basically, if someone will ask me to describe with one word what we are doing, I will probably use the word C.A.R.S. And C.A.R.S. for me stands for C stands for classic, so Kessel Classic. A for automotive, so Kessel Auto. R for racing, Kessel Racing. And S for services. And when it comes to services, it's the paint shop, is the body workshop, is the service we are providing to the cars. Also some concierge service when a customer is flying from America and he would love to have his car in Saint-Tropez, in Gstaad, in wherever he wants to have the car. This is what we are doing. We are basically taking care 360 degrees of our customers.
Beautiful. And what do you think has happened over the past few years that has made cars, and particularly racing, a bigger conversation than ever?
Whoa, this is a good question. I think that somehow when Liberty Media took over Formula One, gave a good boost to this world. When we think about Race to Survive, when we think about all the other movies, I have to say, if you look or if you go to a Grand Prix today, it's not only the car racing, it's all what we have around, the entourage of what we have during a Formula One Grand Prix. You have a lot of fashion, you have a lot of luxury goods or brands around, which is amazing because in the end, this means exploiting even more a competition, a race, and doing also some product placement and some good marketing behind that. And for someone who's come from this field like me, there is no better thing, to have finally a more complete war to take part to.
Oh, absolutely. You have chosen a path of growth, of course, but also specialization during the growth. When you first started working on the business after your father's passing, you mentioned you had Lamborghini, Alfa Romeo, all these different brands under the Kessel Auto world. And you could have continued to grow wide, but you chose to instead narrow down and grow vertically.
Yeah.
Through specialization. You now focus on Maserati, Ferrari, and Pagani in the modern car category. Why did you choose to specialize versus to expand further?
I think that it's a good question, actually. It might be the reason why, in order to expand further. I think that focus is everything when it comes to business, and to be specialized, it's fundamental. To try to do many things, but at a discrete level is not key when it comes to success. To focus, give some priorities, and try to do what you're doing at your best is for sure the first step, for a growing business. It has not been easy at the very beginning, also because I took this decision, let's say, quite soon after my father has been passing away, and some people were also criticizing, like, okay, look at that guy, he's like now closing a little bit some departments or stop with some brands because it's too much for him. He's not able to keep up with everything. I have been suffering back then because those people were not helping me in my challenge. But I have to say that if I look back today, it was the right decision. I think that when it comes to be specialized versus being a little bit more generic or generalist on what you're doing, it's always important to be specialized. And this is also what we are trying to keep inside our company, some very skilled people which are taking care of one particular field or one particular task. This is key to the success of the business, and this is how we have been organizing the company. Then it's clear that when it comes maybe to myself, by having to manage or more tasks in the company, I cannot be specialized anymore, but you need to have very specialized people which are supporting you in each field, because otherwise it's impossible to go anywhere.
Absolutely. And I think in one of your fields in particular, with the classics, with Kessel Classic, the restorations you do, the sourcing of cars you do to find rare and special cars that are only more and more rare because they're classic cars, not only requires more and more specialty, but also it is, as time goes on, more and more difficult to find people who have the knowledge and skills of the past.
It is very difficult today. If you want to find a very good mechanic, it's a challenge. I think that more and more the young generation is growing with some other different wishes when it comes to their work. Maybe they are more skilled when it comes to IT or some digital activity. But this makes at the same time very rare the mechanic who's still good on fixing the car, or the guy who's still good on working on the body of a beautiful Ferrari 250 GTO, for example. And they start to be rare and more rare, those people. And if today I was a very young guy, I would start probably to consider also to go back to some manual works, because those skills will be the most wanted in the future. Otherwise, such an activity like my one is not meant to continue.
Yeah. What do you think the importance of classic cars and heritage is?
It is important, and it is something which is a consequence of the fact that the world is moving forward, and that if I consider that the definition of classic car could be a car which is older than 30 years, every year we welcome some new car into the classic car world. So a classic car could be seen, or probably it's seen today, as an old car. Probably in the future this meaning will change a little bit, because with now the new way of producing car, which is the hybrid engine or the electric engine, probably the definition of classic car will change a little bit, and it will be meaning the classic car with a classic combustion engine towards or versus, let's say, the modern car, which are the car with different kind of power units, which could be electric, hybrid, hydrogen, whatever. So I think that the classic car war, it's something important, and it's something which is changing, mutating, and let's see where we're going to end up with this definition.
When people think of cars, they often think of transport, of course. And they also think of performance, racing. There's so many thoughts that come to mind. But there is a conversation that exists against race cars and fast cars and classic cars, because they're overkill. It's for people who are not racing on a track, but just driving around town. Yet the bar keeps being raised and technologies keep being improved in these cars and in these race cars to make them faster, more efficient, and more excellent in their own lanes. And I wonder, in your eyes, why is it important to keep raising the bar of what's possible with these cars? And why is it important to strive for excellence and to keep beating performance records, efficiency records on a track, but also in a garage?
I think that this is part of how the humans are. We humans are. If you ask me, why are we trying to go to Mars? It's also difficult to answer, or maybe it's super easy to answer. It's because humans, and I think this is amazing when it comes to our category, are always looking for better, to improve, to the next challenge. And this could be when it comes to construction, when it comes to every field. And I think that the answer is probably there, even when it comes to automotive. Enzo Ferrari used to say that the best car is the car which is not yet built, or not built yet. And I think it's right, because if you look in the history of Ferrari and what he has been doing, and what Ferrari is still doing today, there is always a better car which is coming with some newities, better technology, and so on. And this applies, of course, to every brand. Today, though, I have to say that there are some brands which started to focus also on the romantic way of driving cars, which means not only at the performance, but also at the way you are driving a car, the handling of the car. We have, for example, Pagani, who went back to the manual gearbox, just to provide you this, this melancholy of the old good days, no? And I think this is, if you look into that, merging a little bit with the classic car war. So that's why I'm saying probably the classic car war, the definition of classic car war, is about to change, because the more we advance with technology, the more the current car with combustion engine and the old car are trying to find a little bit, a synergy. And this Pagani and this vision, but it's not the only brand. Also Porsche is doing manual. I think it's the answer of this melancholy of the, good old days.
This podcast is brought to you by Poubelle by the Gstaad Guy, bringing you charms hand-painted with enamel on 925 sterling silver, allowing you to express all the things you love and all the things you might question, from Riva bateaus to backgammon boards and caviar tins to paddle rackets. There is a Poubelle charm or completed set for everyone in the know. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the podcast.
And when it comes to F1 as a category in racing, what do you think that does for the greater world of automotive? And why is F1 important for cars in general?
Formula One is the biggest automotive platform when it comes to communication. It's a platform where the brands are basically showing their skills on track. It's also, if you look back in the past, a way to represent your nation. Back then, back in the 50s, when Formula One was invented, you had the blue cars, like the Bugattis, racing for France. You had the silver car, Silver Arrow, racing for Germany. You had the red car, could be Ferrari, but also Maserati or Alfa Romeo, racing for Italy. Then you had the white for America, and the green, the so-called British green, for England. So Formula One, it's today a little bit like the Champions League probably, or the Premier League, It's a way to, through motorsport, to support and to stand for your nation. And I think that this is something very nice.
You think it's still a representation of skills of a nation to build the car and race the car versus a brand or a car manufacturer or so on?
I think that the spectator are probably also choosing the brand that their favorite brand, the one that they are standing for, also because of this. If you go to Holland and you see Max Verstappen winning, you see a lot of orange smoke. Okay, now everyone will agree that the Red Bull is not coming from Holland, but still the driver is coming from Holland. Mm-hmm. If you go to Imola or to Monza and you see Ferrari winning and all this red smoke that they're doing is to celebrate Ferrari, but also to celebrate the success of Italy. No? So I'm saying that probably it's not only the car, it could be also the driver, but it's a way to be very close to your nation. And I think that this is pretty much like this in every sport. If you look into the Olympiadi, is like this. And probably if then I go back to the minor categories, so below the Formula One, these things is not there, but in Formula One is really there. So you stand for your nation.
And how has Formula One changed to you from when you used to watch it and be a part of it through your father's racing and today?
Back then it was much more accessible. So if you wanted to go and to join a box, a paddock experience, it was easier. Today it's a little bit more regulated. But this is just the results of the success that motorsport is having. Before probably there was much less people. Today there are too many people, and if you don't regulate that, it would end up into a disaster and too many people in the paddock. So it's a great success, the one of Formula One, and also the one of Le Mans and those hypercar and this World Endurance Series. So we are really into a very good wave when it comes to motorsport.
Speaking of the Endurance Series, you just got off the track for 24 hours of racing in your Ferrari. I mean, you weren't actually in the car, but you were on the sidelines. How does that work? The car is just driving, engine is on for 24 hours straight. How many times do you switch drivers? I'm very curious.
Yeah. So that's correct. I'm just back from Spa 24 hours where we won our class. So we are very happy. It's always very challenging, to race for 24 hours. When it comes to the car or starting from the car is actually running non-stop for 24 hours. The only 23 moments where you switch off the engine is when you have to refuel it each hour, because of course you need to refuel the car if you want to get to the end of the race for probably 1 minute, but otherwise the engine is just going maximum rest 24 hours long. And before the race you have the free practice, you have the qualifying. So after a 24 hours the car need to be rebuilt completely. But what I think it's really exciting about the 24 hours race is that it's a big team effort. The driver, 3-4 drivers depending from the category, are also racing, alternating each other for 24 hours. So they might do a double stint, go sleeping for 3-4 hours, back to the car. It's like very challenging. And the mechanics having to wake up every hour to just refuel the car, change the tires, and maybe fix the car because of a little collision. It's really the maximum you can have when it comes to the motorsport, and to, how you say in English, orchestrating. I don't know if you can say like this. Everyone, the car, the driver, the engineer, the mechanics. It's nice. It's super nice. And there are a couple of nice 24 hours worldwide. You have the Spa 24 hours, which is in Belgium. You have Le Mans 24 hours, which is probably the most important one in France. That was 2 weeks ago. And then you have also the Daytona 24 hours, which is in January. And the 24 hours races are probably the one which are the most worth it to be seen.
It's amazing. You touched lightly on the audience that comes with many of these motorsports, and now the intersection of fashion, luxury in the space. And I see that in all elements of your business and of the things you're doing now, there's an increasing affiliation with luxury brands and luxury experiences, even when the initial intention was either purely historic or purely performance. It's now increasingly becoming a point of communication for luxurious businesses. I think a great example of that is the I.C.E. in St. Moritz, which for the past couple of years has been sponsored by Loro Piana. And they had a couple of Loro Piana cars with Loro Piana interiors. Jackets were awarded to the winners of the race. And it's really amazing to see. And I'm curious, in your perspective, what you think the reason is for this incredible intersection between luxury, motorsport, and performance.
I think that we need probably also to divide a little bit all the car manufacturer into some categories. Mm-hmm. For sure, we cannot define luxury all the manufacturer, but for sure the one that we are representing, yes. And this is part of the decision I had to take back in the past, no? Because back in the past we were, let's say, cross-selling from utility car to premium car to sport car. We decided to stick and to stay with the sport car, and those sport cars today could be defined, very close to the luxury market. I think that this is a consequence of a world which is going of the globalization, and a war which is going into this direction of dividing into cluster what you are buying. That could be not only a car, but could be a beautiful T-shirt, sweatshirt, a beautiful watch, and so on. For sure, Ferrari has been following this direction. Ferrari itself probably today is not defining itself as a car manufacturer, but as a luxury brand, and prove is that now they are also into fashion and so on. I think that this is something nice to see, and this is nice to be part of, because in the end, when it comes to also the I.C.E., when it comes also to Loro Piana, there you see the perfect marriage when it comes to classic car and or to luxury car and to luxury brands. Loro Piana, back in the past, and this is part of the heritage I was mentioning about, used to have a racing team. They used to race the Mille Miglia and some other classic competition. So today they are back with that, and the I.C.E is just the proof that luxury brand, automotive brand are going very well together.
And I think there's a lot of values shared between lots of the world of racing and lots of the world of Loro Piana.
I think that when you just visit a car manufacturer like Ferrari, or when you visit a brand like Loro Piana and you go where they are producing, they get basically the rough material, the cashmere, the wool, and they start working on it. You see a lot of things in common. So the attention into details is something which is incredible in both company, and the final results, the final product is unbelievable. And if you think about that, it's just about a perfect execution which is applied to two complete different products, but with the common results, which is the perfection.
Yeah, I completely agree. My personal history with Loro Piana is one of inheritance, where I inherited my first item from my grandfather, and that's how I started to be introduced to the brand, and I love the brand. And the conversation around it was always around performance, the best materials, the best execution, to create really the best of the best fashion product. And I see a lot of those conversations around the world of cars, particularly around the brands you represent. And I was wondering if you could share more about the particular brands you've chosen to work on, like Pagani, who I know work with some of the best materials in the world, even for things like the leather within the car. Why does a brand like Pagani and even Ferrari stand out from the rest to you?
Perfection and obsession, I think, are two key words. And now, if you want to talk a little bit about Pagani and Horacio Pagani, Horacio is it's a man who gave his entire life to his family and to his work. The family is working together with him, and the results of the car is the results of the obsession he has been putting into those models. If you take a little screw of Pagani and you just look at it, you will see that there is a little Pagani logo on it. So probably this screw is something which is not going to be seen for the rest of the car life, but the detail is there. And if I just need to say what Horacio quite often tells me, is that Leonardo da Vinci, who is a little bit you can say the muse of the mentor of Pagani, Horacio is always saying that Leonardo da Vinci says that the beauty stands or stays in the small details, and I think that is totally right. So if you want the perfection and you seek for perfection in every small details, the final results is going to be the perfection. If you're not looking for that perfection, the final results might not be perfect. And I think that this philosophy, it's a philosophy which brands like Pagani, like Ferrari are really having. So this continuous improvement into material, into perfection, and the results, it's there to be seen.
Are there any conversations similar that you have had with your father before his passing, where you maybe learned similar lessons and started to prioritize similar values as a result of your upbringing?
Yes, for sure. My father has been giving me some, and I'm saying it in a very positive way, talking about work, hard time back then, because he wanted me to grow with a character. He wanted me to grow with a personality. He didn't want me to be just his son. he wanted me to be Ronnie because everyone is having his in the end his attitude, no? And one of the things that he was always telling me was to focus on things and to try to choose a couple of things to do and to do them in a very good way, in a very nice way. And I'm very grateful today to this, and this is what I also keep telling to my colleagues, to my employees today. I think that when you look into, any activity, yes, you have very talented people. You have, the talent is there and is clear. But today, I have to say that the talent itself is not enough. So today, probably, you need to mix the talent and this obsession we were talking about before, this consistency and perseverance. This is very important. So if today you ask me which one of the two is more important, probably I will more go for the attitude, the perseverance, the obsession, the consistency towards the talent. Because if it's there, if you keep focusing on what you're doing, if you keep improving, the results is going to arrive. And I think this is one of the biggest learning I got from my father.
I think you had to jump into your business very young, and you had to jump into this world very young, partially by choice when you got into a car at the age of 14, but also partially by circumstance. Are there lessons you learned as a young man, as a kid, that you continue to remind yourself of today and every day?
Discipline probably will be the answer. Discipline is something that you need to build on an early stage. And discipline is what keeps you with the focus on what you're doing. You can be a genius, you can be talented, you can just be someone who just keep trying, but if the discipline is not there, it's going to be difficult to be successful in life. So by saying this, I'm not saying that I'm successful, I'm just saying that I'm trying to, and the focus is core. Try to have less distraction as possible, to prioritize what you're doing. Try to have a routine. I'm a big fan of routines. I think that routine helps you to simplify things which are complicated. Complicated could be to fit into your daily life or daily routine, a little bit of sport, a little bit of meditation, meant like thinking about where you are, where you want to be, the goal that you have for the day, for the week. And I think that today this is very important. Discipline, it's key to every business and to every human being who want to try to succeed in life.
Absolutely. How long have you been in business for now?
It's now more than 20 years.
Wow.
If I look back, I started at a very younger stage. I was still studying, but also working by my father's side. And I have to say today was the best decision I could take. At the very beginning, I wanted to go to study in Barcelona. I wanted to go to Berlin. But then in the end, my father told me, look, I mean, I have something to transfer to you. And if you want to do your studies close, that would be ideal, because then, we can grow together and I can start transferring to you. So good that I did it, because my father then passed away, and this time is so precious that without this time today, probably I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any advice you could give to your 20-year-old self, or to people who maybe share a lot of the feelings you felt at the age of 20?
To be hungry, extremely hungry, to be curious, to be a learning machine and unsatisfied. I think that at the age of 20, you just have to say yes to any opportunity that the world, that people are presenting to you. Just say yes, go out, experience it, and try to make your background as big as possible. And then probably towards the years, start to say a little bit more the word no, and focus on what starts to be your passion or your career. But at the age of 20, I mean, you have a world to conquer, and you just, have to be there and take all opportunities.
What was your headspace at the age of 20 versus your headspace now? Did you have as much clarity on what you knew you had to do?
Much more. And someone is saying, I don't remember who, that your real life starts at the age of 40. I agree. I think that till 40, the human being is still making experience, probably less and more focused compared to the one that you are doing when you are in your 20s. But still, every day, every year, you feel like you are more in control of what you're doing, and you are more safe with what you have in your hands. So I think in the end, life, it's that was actually Orazio Pagani telling me that life, it's a place where we need to keep exploring. It's an experimental place, and that we need to exploit our life exactly for this purpose. And I think that there is no better explanation, since we're talking about automotive, of this quote of Horatio.
I think lots of young people listening to this podcast are very passionate about cars, very passionate about the automotive world, and would love to get involved somehow. But they don't know what the front door looks like for a junior person with little experience. What do you recommend to a young person looking to get into the car and automotive world? Where should they start?
My suggestion will be to start from any starting point you might have as an opportunity. Too many people, in my opinion, are waiting for the right starting point, and then they are completely missing it. It's very difficult to be able to control the starting point and to find the perfect position, the perfect activity in the perfect company. It's much more easier to start from one or the other position, depending where you're living, what's the company next to you, what's your passion inside the automotive field. But pick it up, show your skills, show that you are hungry, that you want to excel, and just keep on going. But don't wait too much, or don't miss too many opportunities waiting for the right starting point, because the right starting point will never arrive to you. You just need to start.
What does it look like to start as a junior person in the world of automotive? Is it trying to cold email every person you can, show up and knock on the door?
It's about that opportunity. You might start as a car explainer inside the dealership, describing cars which are for sale. You might start as a mechanic or as an engineer. You might go to the local dealership, or you contact a race team asking to be there, probably for a stage. Depending on what you want to do, or what you want to achieve into the automotive field, you have many opportunities. But I will probably pick up the one which is as close as possible to you. Maybe you know someone who's in that field. Ask that guy if he can introduce you to this world, and just take it, pick up any opportunity, and go for it. Go with the flow.
Absolutely. Whenever we're on the Gstaad Guy podcast, we play a game of Fantastique versus à la Poubelle, where we celebrate the things we find to be fantastique and throw the things we don't à la Poubelle. Can you name 2 or 3 things in each of those categories that are applicable to the world you find yourself in?
Maybe starting from safety, driving fast car, faster on the racetrack is fantastique.
This?
Driving them on the street, par contre, c'est la poubelle.
Yes.
Driving cars, especially the classic car, which are standing in your garage, is fantastique. Leaving there too much, it's dangerous. They might go à la poubelle because they got ruined. You need to get to drive those cars.
To move the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And taking any chance you have in life, going out in this world, try to become someone is Fantastique. Staying home, waiting for your opportunity to arrive à la Poubelle.
I love it. I completely agree. I need to ask you one final question. People say that you drive a smart around Lugano, even though you have a crazy car collection. What did you drive up to Andermatt today? What car are you driving?
Yeah, it's correct. I'm driving a Smart on a daily base. I love it. It's small. I can park it everywhere. And, sometimes I also need to cheat a little bit on myself because if I was driving Ferrari all the time or Pagani, whatever, it wouldn't be a surprise anymore. Mm-hmm. But for today podcast, and since, I got this invitation, I decided to come with the Ferrari Puro Sangue.
Amazing. How's the drive in that car?
It's amazing. It's a nice car. You actually enjoy it, especially when you have a curvy road. The handling of the car, it's just perfect. You don't even realize you are seated on a higher car compared to all other Ferraris.
Beautiful. And for all the car heads out there, 3-car garage. What do you put in your garage?
Ferrari F40 because it's my age, so it was produced in 1987. Ferrari F50 because I think it's the most sensational car to drive. It's like carbon chassis, 12-cylinder rear engine, aspirated engine is just wow. And Pagani Zonda because it's a great machine.
Beautiful. Well, I hope to drive in all those cars with you very soon.
Thank you. Let's do it.
Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Thank
you for being here. Thank you for taking the time and looking forward to seeing you around the world very soon.
For sure. Very soon.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gstaad Guy podcast. If you're keen to learn more, please follow along by engaging with our social channels on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Merci beaucoup, à la prochaine, and a big hug from the Gstaad Guy.